My name is Richard Rahn. I was the former chief economist of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I served as the first non-Canadian on the Cayman Islands Board of Monetary Authority. I've created businesses in this part of the world. I've been with a number of think tanks, and I do a syndicated economic column each week. Like John, we've all written a lot. And I had noticed, even though I've published more than 1,000 articles, the world wasn't changing that much. So we decided to do some films about successful countries and how they could be a role model for others. And over the last 2 years, we did a film on Chile, one on Switzerland, one on Estonia. And with the encouragement of the Kriebel Foundation and Chris Fuskis and Tanya Bay, we have put together a TV show. And Tanya, is that being broadcast now here, or the TV show? Well, is that being broadcast now? Yeah, okay. Anyway, what we've done is put together some of the lessons that can be learned from Switzerland, Chile, and Estonia for the Ukrainian audience. It's all has been dubbed into Ukrainian, and I hope you all watch it because it'll give you indications of what can be done. For instance, as John pointed out, one of the keys for any economic development is getting rid of corruption. And that is something, of course, that has plagued your country. I don't have to tell you about that. But the Estonians, when they made their transition back in '92, went to e-government, that is, government over the internet as much as possible, which really reduced the opportunities for corruption. Mart Laar, their first reform prime minister back in 1992, had been instrumental in putting that together. We also, the importance of property rights is extremely important. And Chile, under the so-called Chicago Boys, including our friend Jose Piñera, made drastic changes in terms of the importance of protecting private property. They did that about 40 years ago. And Chile went from a poor country to a rich country in a relatively short time. And in our film, it's explained how Chile managed to succeed by great extension and protection of private property, including subsurface rights for people who want to develop oil and gas and minerals underneath property. We feature Switzerland because Switzerland, to my mind, is the best governed country in the world. Can anybody here tell me who the Swiss president is? No. The reason you can't is most Swiss don't know either, because it's not important. It's because they have developed the policies and the institutions to manage their lives well. I mean, what the people do is really manage their own lives with more of a minimum of government. Government is conducted at the lowest level. They have very little corruption, reasonable taxes, but the taxes vary a lot from canton to canton, that is from section to section. So people can select what kind of tax rate they want, what kind of level of government services. They have reasonable regulations. They have a very sound currency. They're largely free trade and free markets. And as a result, Switzerland, without any access to the sea, surrounded by other countries who are doing less well, has become the most prosperous major country in Europe. And there's a lot of lessons that can be learned from Switzerland. Ukraine has many natural advantages that Switzerland does not have. For instance, you've got access to the sea, you have many more mineral resources, your agricultural lands are far more productive and valuable. And I think looking at the Swiss example will be highly beneficial for you. I tend to be an optimist, and that's why we have done these films on successful countries. It's very easy to understand why people are poor. That's no trick. To understand why people are wealthy is more difficult. But basically, people are wealthy when they operate under the rule of law, protect private property, reasonable taxes, free trade, free markets, minimal government regulation, and a sound currency. You provide that, and the entrepreneurial spirits of the people, like from all of you, that will generate the wealth. Wealth does not come from government. Government can destroy wealth, like we've seen in Venezuela now, but what governments cannot create the wealth. It is the private entrepreneurs who create the wealth. Government merely can set a correct set of rules and take away disincentives for bad behavior. With that, I'll turn it over to my next columnist.